Hi, it's John. Today's project is going to be this cute Christmas card. We're talking 3 very grumpy penguins that have been stamped. We've got a beautiful array of sentiments in a pale blue in the background. We've got a bit of colouring on the beaks and around the bodies, and then with love at Christmas sentiment. If you want to see how I did it, stay tuned. So I'm going to start off by taking my stamp set. Today we're working with this Grumpy Penguin set by Katzelkraft, which I think is a French company. Katzelkraft.fr. And what I've done basically is I've taken those stamped and I've cut them out, and then I've mounted them onto some stamping foam so that I can easily use them in my stamping platform. So first of all, let's take our stamp. And I'm going to put this piece of 14 by 14 card just down on my stamping platform and position my grumpy penguins on top. Close my platform down, and then I'm just going to ink it up using some Onlx black. Give it a good go all over, moving the pad around as you do it, just in case you've got any dry bits. Okay, let's just give that a good press down. And then have a look what that looks like. There we go, it's quite cute, but I think I'm just going to give it one more go because I want it to be really dark. I'm also going to heat emboss this with some clear Wow ultra fine embossing powder, which I've got here in my little tub. So we've got a nice firm black image, and I'm just going to give that a dip in my embossing powder and tap it off. Right, I'm taking my heat gun, I'm just pre-warming that underneath, and then I'm just going to give this a good heat. While I'm waiting for that to heat up, I'm just going to clean my stamp off with a wet cloth. These red rubber stamps by Katzelkraft are amazing. The detail on them is beautiful. Okay, I'm just going to give that a heat. And straight away you see how much difference that makes. Gives it a black gloss effect and also makes it stand out more when you start working with colour. These characters are adorable, officially. Okay, I'm just going to heat the back as well. There we go. Okay, that part is done. So I shall just pop my penguins back on their sticky plastic. Go back in their packet. And I shall definitely be using those again. Okay, now the next piece we're going to do is we're going to create an interesting effect behind the penguins. How are we going to do this? We're going to use this stamp set. This is by Stampers Anonymous. It's called Tiny Text Christmas CMS 424, and it's all individual sentiment stamps which you can peel off and use, but I'm actually going to use the whole lot. And what I've got is some Distress Oxide here in Speckled Egg, and I'm just going to go over the stamp set with the speckled egg, dragging a little bit. And then I'm going to use my cloth and just dab that on to take a little bit off. I don't want it too sharp. And then I'm going to literally lay this down on top of my grumpy penguins. Now you've got to be careful at this point, because if you happen to move it when you lay it down, this is the effect you get, which is a completely rubbish double text effect. So we're actually reusing our project on the back side, which nobody will ever know about, and trying to do it properly this time. So, just going to lay that down, and without moving it, press it down. Press around the edges particularly, that's where we want the text to be particularly strong, but in the middle it can be faded. There we go, and that is exactly the effect we wanted. Fading out at the edges, not too precise, through the penguins, it just looks quite cute. So first of all, clean your project because you've got bits all around the edge, and then give your stamp a good wipe as well. This is a very versatile set. I have used this over and over. I bought it a couple of years ago. It made about 400 Christmas cards last year, I think. And it's going to make quite a few for this year as well. So that's that stamping done. And then I'm just going to take this and just give it a little bit of a heat just to make sure that that ink is dry. It creates a nice effect in the background in a sort of a pale speckled egg blue, obviously. You can just make out the text, but it's not too dominant, which is what I really wanted. There we go, that's dry. Now I've got a couple of pencils here. I'm going to do some really simple colouring on this. These are just basic, I think they're watercolour pencils. And then I've also got a stump as well. This is a Derwent stump, which is useful for colouring and blending. So what I'm going to do, I'm only going to colour 2 parts in there. I'm going to give the beaks an orange and a little bit of a yellow trim, and then I'm going to do yellow just around the bellies of the penguin and blend that into the centre. So you can see my pencil is shockingly blunt. It doesn't really matter. Just give the nose a bit of orange, stronger at the bottom, kind of fading away as it gets to the top. Then go in with the yellow, and then blend it together. There we go, and adding that second colour just gives it more depth. Beware of the bits that fall off, the little kind of pencil shavings, because you leave them laying on your project, they can cause a problem. So you can see straight away there, we've now got quite a nice orangey effect on the beaks. And then what I'm going to do, I'm looking at where my pencil has its edge, because I don't want to go in with a sharp point, I want to go in on a flat bit. So check where your flat bit is. And then what I'm going to do is just colour very gently around the main part of the belly. Really, really light pressure. Casually colouring, fading out as I'm sort of going into the belly. So if anything, it's stronger on the outside. A little bit at the bottom here, but just a very, very pale yellow layer. And then I'm taking my stump and I'm basically going over that yellow. I'm sort of applying a bit of pressure. You can hear it as it's grating on the paper, and you can see what it does. It kind of blends that colour out, and then you can take it into the middle. Same thing on this one. Just go over where you've coloured and then give it a bit of a fade. And that just gives your penguins a little bit of body. It gives them a little bit more colour, a little bit more interest. Okay, we are powering through this one today. So my next thing I'm going to do, I've got this set called Christmas Wishes by Visible Image. Absolutely love their products. And there is a gorgeous with Love at Christmas in here. I want to use this because I think it's a really nice, different text to use against the text in the background. Because we've already got text, we want something that's kind of notably different. Otherwise, it could be struggle to be seen. So I'm going to turn my stamping platform around, put my card back down, a couple of magnets on there just to hold it in place. And then I'm just going to take my With Love at Christmas, I'm going to put it offset at the bottom, get it relatively level, and just make sure that's roughly in the right place. I sort of want it to line up with the right hand side of the penguin. Pick that up and then just ink that. Because it's on a surface that's already been inked, I'm just going to use my anti-static pad just to make sure there's no grease or ink on there that could affect how the ink takes. And then I'm just going to give that a good old ink. Pop that down. I don't think that needs a second stamp. And then again into my embossing, but because I've coloured the card and I've got ink and everything else, I'm only going to emboss just that little bit at the bottom. So just shake your powder. There you go. Heat that. That smooths that out, and it gives you a really nice vibrant black against the background, which is quite busy. There you go, that's done. Again, with our cloth, clean up our stamp. It's good to clean up as you go along, saves you a huge job at the end. Pop that back on the stamp set. This is a very versatile set with lots of different sentiments and different styles. I shall certainly be using all of those. And right, now we're into final touches. So I've got here my Distress ink in the same colour, Speckled Egg, and I've got a little domed foam blender. And what I'm going to do is just go around the edges and give it a bit of colour at the edges, just to add a little bit more depth. So I'm applying really light pressure. Darker on the corners, lighter as I go down the middle. And the fact that it's the same colour as the text will link it all together, make it look cohesive. Turn your project as you go. Just gentle circular motions with not much pressure, but get harder as you go towards the edges. Round and round and round. You can always add, you can't take it away. Just keep going over it, layering it, layering it, layering. As you've got a layer of ink on there, you'll find that the next layer of ink will take easier. Be careful which direction you move your foam pad in. You always want to be thinking about the direction and the edge of the card. Otherwise you risk lifting it, risk creasing it, and you can then ruin your project. Again, getting darker on the edges. We want to see that colour in the corner. Last run. And then take that ink and just go around the edges as well. That'll help blend that colour in. There we go, so that's done. And now all we need to do really is mount it, and our card is done. Just give your worktop a wipe. And that's looking pretty good. Keep it really simple. I've left this whole area at the top empty on purpose. We've got our 3 penguins, we've got our sentiment, that's nice. Take a piece of black card. This is just a scrap I had left from a previous project, and I'm using double-sided tape. I'm just fixing that along all the edges so I can easily mount this down. So we'll have a layer of black, and then I'll mount it onto a basic white card blank. I do tend to prefer white card blanks, just gives you a classy look, I think. And just a black border, it always just brings the life to the card. Especially as most of us stamp in black ink, it seems to somehow just pull a whole project together. Also, it adds weight to the card, adding that black layer underneath. When the person opens it and holds it in their hand, it feels heavier, it feels more quality. So I'm just going to eyeball this into the corner, get it roughly square in the corner, and then look down one side, look along the top. There we go. Turn that over, give it a good press all around and across. Yep, we are down and we are flat. Then just gonna again eyeball that. trim this other side as well. There's a lot of guessing in card making. And this metal ruler has a little foam pad underneath with a gap at the edge, so you can work in quite a small gap. As long as you press down, it prevents it from moving, which is ideal. This is a really good one, this one. I like it. Okay, now again, we need to put our double-sided on. Working my way around the card, paying particular attention into the corners. Doesn't need loads of tape to hold it, but I tend to just do the whole run. I don't want any of it to lift up. And just pop a little bit in the middle. This time around we're doing the bunny ears trick, which allows us to do a little bit of repositioning. You could stick it down with glue if you want. I tend to prefer to work with tape. It's just quicker and less messy. Take the one off in the middle. And I've got a basic 6-inch card blank here, which I've already folded in half and scored. And I'm just going to pop that down, sit this on top loosely so I can maneuver it around. There we go, I think we're there. Peel the tape off, press it down. Hopefully it's even on all the sides. And then I always take my bone folder and just go along those edges just to make sure that that is properly down. There we go, and there's our card for today. So we've got our beautiful penguins. We've stamped the sentiments in the background. The penguins are obviously heat embossed, so they're nice and shiny. We've then used our separate stamp set for the With Love at Christmas message and just mounted that on black and then onto a white card blank. And you can agree that that looks rather nice. Lots of detail on the stamp. You can see the beaks are coloured and you've got that sort of faint yellow going around. So I think that's a really nice card. I'd be very happy to receive that. And you can see how easy it was to make as well. It didn't take too long at all. So if you like that, please click thumbs up to this video and maybe subscribe to my channel. There are other card making videos on there showing lots of different styles. I also sell my cards on Etsy, Crafts by John UK on there, also on TikTok, also on Instagram. So follow me if you're interested, and I'll see you next time.